because there's no ball, boys. The fullback for Greece in Chigalius, he actually has to go and retrieve the ball, and that's why we have a stoppage. These are the things that many of us take for granted in rugby league heartland, if you like, at various levels. Penalty against Ukraine. Something happened before the play the ball. There was no play the ball, and Ukraine, they concede a penalty whilst in possession. Leo Epiphania, I'm not sure what was said at half time, but that was ridiculous.
Cannot give the ball away, give a penalty away while you have the ball. No excuses for that. I don't even know what that was for. I'm trying to look at the referee. Did he play it or not play it properly? Not sure. No excuse.
Well, I think it might have been foul play. I didn't see it either. We don't have the benefit of a replay, unfortunately. But the referee, he was very clear cut. I've got to say, Enzo Perret, our friend from Villeneuve in the south of France, he blew the whistle straight away. So he must have spotted some infringement. And now, are we holding up the game because a player's shoelaces were loose? Please pinch me, Leo.
No, it's not good. He's got to keep the game rolling. I'm not sure whether he understands or whether I don't think it may be back in France. It's how they do it. I'm not sure, but in the National Rugby League, they monitor stuff, and it's all a learning curve for referees as well as for players. But they need to get onto that one.
Well, I think. Look, I don't want to dwell on it, Leo, and I'm going to say it right now. I think they need to watch more rugby league at the elite level. If you're a player, you want to play like Nathan Cleary. If you're a referee, you want to referee like referee Atkins or referee Klein or whoever tickles your fancy. I'm not trying to single out people individually here, but you know what I'm getting at. There, and as we see Greece come up the field, because we need to grow the game and we need to, I suppose, build capacity within various nations to try and build the international game. And match officiating is certainly central to that. I'll come to you in a moment, Leo, on the back of the referee has the arm extended. Greece are on the attack. Here's the last. Magoulias, I think it is, trying to set it up. They'll die with the ball here, Greece. That's not ideal. Couldn't get a kick away. And Leo Epiphania, not for the first time today, Greece have come up with a big fat 0 on the end of their set.
They've got to get a kick. There's no two ways about it. But they got a good kicker as well.
Use him.
Yeah, he showed he's got that floating torpedo. I know they're good when you're going with the wing, but they're also good in the wing because it holds it up. So they just got to get a little kick.
Yeah, that kick he's got is in his arsenal. It's a ripper. So the halves for Greece, not sure what's happening there with Bacchus and Makopis, but they'd like to have that all over again in terms of their game management, because it's just, gleefully accepted possession here for Ukraine. Skorbach running at the line, takes the tackle, the Ukrainian captain, 10 metres into Greek territory. Cleary with the bomb. This kick could be deadly for Greece. Oh, they don't want to have a bar of it. You swear the ball had some sort of disease.
They've got to try and take it on the full, absolutely. At these levels here, getting the kick, we're not as organised. That's a problem, and sometimes not getting the kick. We're not using our head, and we're not as organised with getting a good play the ball, the previous tackle, and having the right depth and dummy half pass clearer. So that's leading to a few times. Kicks. The same with us as well.
I'm going to come to you in a moment, Leo, and put you on the spot and ask you a question, which you'll probably laugh, and I'm going to hold it back. I'm not going to give you a little bit of a heads up. I'm going to stick with the play for the moment, and it's about how things happen at training and how that transcends into game day. Here's the last for Greece. They go down the short side. The sneaky play. Oh, it's been snuffed out. Cleary, I think it is. He got back there and saved the day for Ukraine. Now, Leo, I was going to say, you've got players. There's players involved in this game or these last couple of games that I've called here in Udine from Australia, the UK, Greece, did I say Ukraine, Italy, of course, play at New Zealand, from far and wide. When you train as the Italian coach, and I suspect Georgalis will be in a similar position for Greece, Beardshaw for Ukraine, do you speak in English or do you think there's a bit of native tongue? What's the story?
No, I definitely speak in English because I can't speak very good Italian, and it's Southern Italian, and the Northerners don't understand it. But what we do, some of the Italian players also speak English, but I make sure that I have a translator there, so whatever I say is perfectly translated at the same time.
Right there and then.
So right there and then, so the message is getting to both lots of players, the Italians and the Australian Italians.
Now, I'm not going to suggest you've got a spy in the camp when Greece is training and when Ukraine's training, but I suspect your respective counterparts there, they'll be doing a similar thing.
Yeah, I would say so. That you've got to get there. And sometimes it's hard because getting the emotion behind what's being said and a clear understanding. So you need someone who speaks very good English and very good Italian and understands how to relay that on to the Italian players.
And just finally, in the heat of battle, while this game's unfolding, while the game's being played out, there's no time to muck around. So getting communication there. If some player doesn't perhaps understand good English, someone needs to translate and do it real quick.
So we have a player that came with us. He was our eighth player, but he's unable to be used because we're only allowed 7 in Australia. Massimo Murray, he speaks fluent Italian, fluent English, and he's our runner. So either way, the message gets there.
So from the runner, not with the player on the field, it's with the runner who carries the water and sends messages out.
Yes, he can bring the message back from an Italian and translate it to English for me. Italian player on the field.
Wow, we just saw a big shot there from the Ukrainians in defence. And that was, well, I think it was Janison from the Cardiff Cobras. Well, he stung like a cobra. Plenty of venom in that one, Leo.
Yeah, well, as I said, during our game and today, there's been a few big shots. There's a highlights reel there on big tackles. So I'm sure it's not going to stop today either. I'm sure it'll keep going by next week as well.
Leo Epifania, the coach of the Azzurri. Now, thanks to Leo for joining us today, for keeping us company and adding some value to our broadcast from Udine, about an hour and a half or so from Venice in northern Italy, and also for that insight into communication on game day during the heat of battle, as the game unfolds, how things transpire, how do you send out a message to get the message right. Here's Ukraine on the attack, a little kick on through on the carpet it was, but nicely read. Greece have done well to handle that. They trail this match by 16 points, the Greeks. They beat Poland last start by 4, 38-34, but that form guide really is purely academic because it's a brand new team here today. In fact, Steve Georgalis was not even the coach for that game against Poland, or Polska, if you like. He was actually in Greece doing coaching clinics. And we talk about Pied Pipers of the game. Take about Steve Georgalis, promoting rugby league, doing basic stuff, coaching clinics in Greece. It's a great story, Leo.
Yeah, I think so. I think George is in it for the right reasons. We try to represent our heritage the best we can, and sometimes it's about doing some hard yards, going back to your country and trying to teach something.
Hang on, Leo. There's a chip and chase. It's backyard footy at its best, but there's no backup for Greece. And so it comes to nothing. Ukraine launching the counter-attack, and they get play beyond their own 30-metre line. But it was enterprising play there from Greece. But where was the backup?
Yeah, you didn't quite get there. At NRL level, you would have 2 or 3 right on your tail. But as we said, this is definitely not NRL level. But it was good attack to get the ball to the winger. It's not an easy thing at these levels to get the ball. People might think it's easy, but it's not that easy to get the ball away to the winger. Multiple passes required and multiple good passes required to get there.
Not that easy also to pronounce the players' names when you only see them for half an hour before kick-off. And our thanks to Terry Liberopoulos, the team manager for Greece, in particular for his help today. Terry, of course, one of the great men of Greek rugby league, and very much in the media landscape as well with his work with Rugby League Review. And we see Greece on the attack here. And I wonder if Terry Liberopoulos on the far side of the field and his Greek colleagues expect Greece to come up with points here. They dearly like to crack them. They're going to go close. They go through into the backfield. Oh, brilliant play here from Greece. They're only a metre short of the goal line. Last-ditch defence from Ukraine. They're on their own goal line. It's been shifted to the right, a dab in behind the line. There's backup coming through, and the fullback for Ukraine kills the play in Romo. Well, I thought he forced it. It's come off Greece. That's what he says. I thought it was forced by Ukraine. I was expecting a goal line dropout, and it's Scorbach. I'll tell you what, you don't often see that. The number 6, a standoff with the first carry from a 20-metre tap restart. I don't think I've ever seen that in international rugby league, and I've only called about 50 games involving, 20 countries. I've lost count, Leo, but I've never seen a 6 with a tap restart from their own 20-metre line. I've seen some things the last few days that I haven't seen before, and I'm not talking about the cuisine.
Oh, yeah, but in all fairness, he's got the physique of a front rower or back rower, so he's not a small man. So I think he can take those carries.
Well, I think you're right. He's not slightly built. A more slightly built number 6, a la Benji Marshall, it would not be acceptable. But you're saying Scorbach, he's got the bulk, he's got the frame.
Well, if he had number 8 on his back, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him running at number 8. But he's a skillful player, and he's got a helmet. How old is he? 38 years old. He's playing a big part in this game. He's played a big role in our game as well. So, good on him. Tough.
Yeah, well, a lot of the plaudits were coming the way of Cleary, but don't underestimate the influence of the 6, the standoff, the 5'8", as we say in our part of the world. A penalty against Ukraine all of a sudden. Well, this keeps the contest alive. If you're watching our coverage in the early hours of Thursday morning, maybe you've got an early start for work. Maybe you're invested in this game because of your Greek heritage. I suspect that would be the case. Good morning to you. Don't touch that dial. If maybe you've got the device in bed. I'm not sure if your partner in bed appreciates having the iPhone or the laptop sitting up next to your best friend in bed in the early hours of Thursday morning. But we see Greece with a fumble, and your better half might be suggesting you should turn off the coverage. We hope that you don't listen to her or him, and you stick with us here from Udine in this match, Euro C action between Greece, who are the home team here today, and Ukraine. Now, I just had a sip of is that macchiato?
I think, short black.
A short black, is it? Short black.
Espresso.
And no, it's an espresso. Thanks to Davide for the clarification. Davide, one of the great men of Italian rugby league, has helped put our coverage together under the most difficult circumstances. And his small team, in fact, the team could meet in a phone box. We'll have a scrum here, 38 metres out from the Ukrainian goal line. And I'll tell you what, Leo, when we look around the crowd here, before we finish up, we should touch on this now. Great to see so many families represented here today, mums and dads watching their sons play. Terrific stuff. It really is emblematic of international rugby league at this level. We saw the Clearys, Beck and Ivan here on Saturday. Plenty of mums and dads here today invested in this one.
Yeah, I think that's this isn't about money. It isn't about. It's about the heart and really, doing something for your heritage and understanding what some of those people, some of the tough times they do. For us to have easier times, especially with the Australian. All those that come from Australia, we're very lucky, very fortunate, and I think this is the least we can do. It makes me feel good. Costo, it makes me feel good to be able to it's not easy coming over here to coach these types of games, but to do that and sacrifice a little for the sacrifices that were made for me, I've got no objectivity. So it's good to see, like you said, families here that are here, that are flown. There's a few Italians that are flown from Australia, of my players that have come here to watch their kids. It's special.
Well said, Leo. Leo Epifania, the coach of the Azzurri, his team in action at this venue on Saturday afternoon. local time, 3 o'clock kickoff. That's Greece as the opponent, Italy the host nation. A high tackle here, high tackle against Ukraine. There's no malice in it, but it didn't look pretty, I must say. I'm not sure how much clock is left in this game, but the timepiece as well as the scoreboard have become Ukraine's friend. 22 plays 6 it is to Ukraine. And one of the parents who's in the crowd here today is Peter Slavinsky, watching his son Zane, born in Sydney, the 23-year-old with Southeastern Seagulls. Scored a try in his first cap against the Dutch Lions in the Netherlands. And so Zane playing in the second row for Ukraine, who are looking to turn the Greeks away, but lovely to catch up with Peter prior to the game, proudly following his son's fortunes in the Netherlands not that long ago, and of course now in northern Italy for this game against Greece. Bit of a push and shove in the play of the ball. Play on, it is. Greece on the attack. Ero, he is actually the cousin of KL, the Cronulla Sharks star. That's Dion Ero, playing number 9, who played the ball there for Greece. Greece still having a go. That went backwards. The referee says no, knock on. Well, I thought they could have got away with that, Greece, but the referee, I tell you what, he's a party pooper. Leo's having a chuckle. Well, you thought it was a knock on, and I beg to differ. But anyway,
I think the teams are looking at a little bit weird in that starting fire in the middle of the field. So I'm just stuck in the middle of the field at the moment.
Well, Ukraine surely must be feeling the heat. They played Saturday week ago, then they played 4 days ago, and they're backing up today. What's that? 3 games in 11 days, and that's before we talk about the travel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If they start attacking the Greece, their fullback is lightly quick. If he can get his hands on the ball a bit more, might cause Ukraine some problems. But again, also it comes down to possession. You're not going to be able to do that if you give possession away.
And right on cue, almost a commentator's curse, Ukraine have gifted Greece possession here. So the door is ajar, but who for Greece is going to stand up and kick the door down? Who's going to do that? Perhaps it will be the likes of Tyrone Gigalius, who is a live wire customer in the number 1 shirt for Greece. I'd like to see him in some open pasture.
Yeah, absolutely. Back on the inside through the middle, some of those tiring forwards. He's already made a couple of good busts. He's just got to get some more ball doing in the space.
Let's see if they can create that space. Greece with Leon Bacchus with the put in. No, we're going to have it again. I don't want to be overcritical here, but no one comes to watch scrums get packed in rugby league, Leo. No one. I've never met a person who comes to watch a scrum being packed.
Yeah, I feel you can't really take it away. What a loss to the game would be not to have people don't come to.
Well, I'm not suggesting that, but taking an age to get a result.
Yeah, I get that. They need to make it quicker, but you've got attacking set pieces for us, but at the same time, it'd be like taking a centre bounce away from AFL.
Well, I don't know much about that game, but I know a bit more than what I allude to, having spent some time in the Riverina in Wagga Wagga, the city of crows, which is right on the Barassi line. I don't want to bamboozle people with what that all means, but it's basically a divide between the Indigenous game in Australia, that's AFL, which is what Leo just touched on, and rugby league. We see a mistake here from Greece, and it's become a very stop-start affair with fatigue setting in for both teams, but especially Ukraine with this travelling from Ukraine across to the Netherlands to play, then back to northern Italy to play not once but twice. And they've been zipping around, taking in some sightseeing. I know they've been to places like Venice and Trieste, which is terrific for the players. Look, Leo, let's not sugarcoat this. The country's at war. This is the experience of a lifetime for so many of their players.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want, especially I wouldn't want comment because I don't know what's right and what's wrong, but I'd feel, geez, you want to get out of the country for a week to get away from, what they're unfortunately going through. And and you're right, the bus trip is incredible, how much time they've had to spend on a bus and in hotel rooms. It becomes taxing after a while, but credit to them, they beat us and they're in front here. So, I don't know, well done. And I hope that this relieves them a little bit from what's going on in their own country. It gives them a bit of peace for a bit. They really hold themselves well in all this.
Yes, and also we should send out a belated birthday call to one of the Ukrainian players in Alexander, a coming of age on tour. He turned 21 this week, so many happy returns and the very best from everybody involved in the international game to the 21-year-old who's playing for Ukraine in Alexander Formuk. Another penalty here to Greece, and that's a good touch finder. That's a very, very good touch finder. They'll have a fresh set here right in front of our commentary position on halfway, but the clock is ticking away, and Greece, they need to respect the ball, but they're going to have to throw some caution to the wind here and come up with quick points to try and set up some sort of finish. Greece, having played at the last World Cup, disappointingly for them and many other nations, including Italy. Wow! Storming defence here from Ukraine. Greece going absolutely nowhere. And Jonah Naranoa, he just come out of the line and dealt with that situation. Although Greece back on the attack, still doing quick hands, nice interchange. It comes across to the winger. Alio, he is shut down, but that was exciting stuff from Greece. Now goes through the halves, from Bacchus to Makopoulos, from sideline to sideline. Some fancy stuff here from Greece, from the western sideline to the eastern sideline, asking plenty of questions of this Ukrainian defence. The last has been signalled by referee Perret. The Frenchman telling Ukraine to get back on side. The ball's been knocked on by Ukraine. It'll be 6 more for Greece. Knock on both ways. 6 more coming up for Greece. They will want to pack a scrum quickly here. There's no time for an espresso in Udine. Well, there is, according to Leo, but he's not playing. He's in the box with yours truly. And just processing what might be confronting his Azzurri on Saturday. As I say, the game between Italy and Greece to be played at this very same venue here at Udine on Saturday afternoon. We've got a player down injured here, so we do have a stoppage involving one of the Ukrainian players. The Greek team playing today, 9 of their players, 9 of them based in Greece, although part of the Australian contingent, I might add, is one, what you would call, Leo, a homegrown player who came through rugby league in Melbourne of all places, playing for the Waverley Oakley Panthers, I believe. So they've come from far and wide. Players involved in this tournament, as I say, from Wales or UK, Australia, New Zealand, Ukraine, Greece, Italy, match officials from Ghana, Kenya, Ukraine, France. Talk about a United Nations.
Absolutely, I didn't look at it that way, Costa. But yeah, there's another turnover there. It's a bit, the boys are all starting to tire a bit at the moment, and the errors are going to come into it now, but this is where the Jet Clearys, I think, the quick fullback, the quick fullback can come into the game. They start getting their hands on the ball, they can start causing a lot of problems now.
Ukraine, nothing fancy here on this set from them. Tell you what, it will be interesting to see what happens after this tournament in terms of the world rankings. And I know a lot of people don't have much faith in that system, but it's the system we've got. As we see Ukraine go downtown, lovely take on the full by the fullback, Chagalius. And Tyrone looks up and there's a wall of yellow and blue. But I was just going to touch on before, Leo, and I don't want to get you into trouble here, and I'll look you in the eye and say that, but the downsizing of the World Cup, the door shut for the time being on Greece, Italy, and other countries. Let's not beat around the bush. It's not ideal, far from being ideal for countries like yours.
No, absolutely, Costa. We were pretty disappointed that the last World Cup we were filming for the next couple of World Cups. Loved a lot of the younger boys, and some have played NRL now, like Atkinson, Trent Moiro in Melbourne, and Moretti, Parramatta. So we worked hard at setting ourselves up, and then unfortunately not being an option for us was. It hurt a lot, mate. And, a lot of times players want to go to a World Cup. They're willing to do the hard yards, but without that carry at the end, makes it a lot harder for them.
So an attacking raid by Greece again comes to nothing. Ukraine have got the ball and a penalty to boot. So as our coverage winds down here in northern Italy, again, thanks to our very small but close-knit broadcast team, grazie to Davide and the crew here in northern Italy. As I say, we could have a reunion in a phone box next year, 12 months down the track, or whatever anniversary the boys want to pick. But in all seriousness, it's been tremendous. We thank you for your warm welcome and hospitality, and really pulling out all the stops to making sure we go to air here live and free from Udine. Jason Costigan's my name. Leo Epifania, the Italian coach, has been riding shotgun with me this afternoon, and a big experience, a learning experience for Leo. I don't think he's ever done this before, so our thanks to Leo for having a crack, as we say in the classics. Ukraine looking to finish with a final flurry here, but the fatigue is certainly becoming all too much for them, given their commitments and their travel schedule. The play breaks down once more, and we will have another scrum here. But this is a great moment for Ukraine. 3 from 3 on tour, whilst the country is still at war. This is no mean feat.
No, very difficult. I don't know how they've done it, how they've managed it, to be honest. But, I think the Australian, the boys, the Ukrainian, obviously Ukrainian heritage, but the boys from Australia, especially people like Jet Cleary, didn't need to be here. But they chose to do that for their heritage at a tough time, and I think things like that need to be emphasised. And same with us, we've got boys that came from Australia. A lot of them paid their own way to get here because they wanted to represent their heritage. So there's a lot deeper than what, the level of football obviously isn't NRL, a long way from it. But the level of ticker that's been shown to get here and get these games done is incredible.
Well said, Leo. Well said indeed. Ukraine looking perhaps to finish with the final try of the contest. Cleary with a step and a pass out the back door. They keep it alive. And Ukraine, well, they'll finish with some icing on the cake, just like that, at 26-6, with a kick coming up from bang in front. And after a period of the game where we saw plenty of drop ball, Ukraine come up with their 5th try of the match. And they will make it 2 from 2 in this tournament and 3 from 3 on tour. Pretty impressive campaign for the Ukrainians, as I say, given all the challenges, the obvious challenges for Artem Atasurian, Mr. Rugby League in Ukraine, King Arta, as I like to call him. What a man he is. He continues to amaze so many people who are passionate about international rugby league, how he continues to keep the game on. I was commentating on matches in Ukraine only a couple of months ago, and again, I had to make the point in commentary, Leo, albeit commentating remotely, that if the game stopped and everyone left the field, it was because they would be expecting missile or drone attack. This is the sort of world that they're living in, and that's being from a rugby league, coming from a rugby league perspective, as we see a shot at goal here for Cleary from right in front at the northern end of the ground. He raises the flags, does the New Zealand Warriors New South Wales Cup start, and it's 28 points to 6. Ukraine in the comfort zone against Greece, and it's been like that for quite some time.
Yeah, I think at 22-6, if Greece had been next to score, that's what I was thinking the whole time through. If it was my team, I'd probably be getting the message out that we need to get the next try. But unfortunately, a few errors let Ukraine down the other end again. And, defences that are starting to fall apart a bit, broke down. They found their way through. So you're right, and Ukraine's kept them. It's funny, Ukraine's run the same way both games and come home with that win. After out the first half, scores, it was similar games with us where the score was pretty close at half time. But Ukraine come home with that win, found a way. It might be a thing next game, I need to run into the pit. So I'm just thinking, come home with it. Good on them. They played tough all the way through, and like you said, it's not just the game. They've had to endure some obviously tough things at home, but the travel would not be on a bus. I think they're not allowed to fly, are they? Was that the reason they have to be on a bus?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but certainly, money and time is not a finite resource.
Yeah. Well, whichever it was, they have been on a bus for a long time, and they're still here. They won both games. They kept Greece to only 6 points. Good job.
Yeah, good job indeed. That's putting it mildly. And look at this right at the back end of the game. Look how hungry Ukraine is. So hungry. You feel like taking the whole team off to McDonald's after this. Give them all a Big Mac. That's how hungry they are. They force a goal line restart here. And for Greece, full time cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, I think the game's done, Costo, but there were some good moments for Greece as well. I thought, they defended their try line. Unfortunately, these errors decide the outcome of the games. Penalties, field position. We're just not at this level. These teams, as well as ours, have defensive flaws. We can't be. Whoever's defending less is probably going to win. But Ukraine has probably, of the two games, their defence has been outstanding. Even probably 5 minutes ago, that Greece was attacking, and they shifted the ball to the sidelines a couple of times. The Ukrainians had 4 or 5 defenders there to scream to get them to shut the try down. That's a difference.
Ukraine still chasing points. Ukraine only a couple of metres away. 6 more coming up here for Ukraine. Going straight up the middle. Being turned away Or are they? They've got there. They get another try. Talk about a soft belly from Greece going straight up Main Street. And they are putting the Greeks to the sleep. They get try number 6 at 32 points to 6. Well, this is turning into a demolition job. If they keep this up, we're going to need some tow trucks.
Finishing strong, Greece. I'm a bit sad in a way because Greece, that scoreline probably doesn't totally reflect how the game was. There was a long period there where they were going set for set. Greece was to win. Unfortunately, Ukraine scores 2 or 3 to finish off with, and it looks worse than it actually is. But like you said, they're finishing strong. Costa, you can't take that away from them. They haven't let up for 1 minute of this whole tournament, even against us. They finished stronger. They scored 2 or 3 of their tries right at the end there. Us, Greece, would probably just need to, fight a bit harder right to the end. But good on the Ukraine. Haven't let up.
Shot a goal for Cleary. Again, very straightforward. Greece looked very dispirited, I must say, in the end goal. It's turned to custard for them this afternoon. And Cleary adds 2 more for Ukraine. 34 points to 6. It's turned into a cakewalk here for Ukraine after early on Greece promising so much. But when you look at that scoreboard, as you've touched on, Leo, well, it's turned into a complete mismatch.
I'm looking across Costa, and I like how there's a guy standing right in front of the Ukrainian scoreboard. You can't see.
We had the same problem. We had the same problem with the scoreboard. Someone blocking the view on Saturday. Big shot from Greece. I think that was Magurlius. And he just said to the Ukrainian ball carrier in Kozak, come here. I want some early supper.
We're basically saying, we might win the game, but give you something to take home. That was a big whack, that one, Costa.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest whacks of the game for Greece, and coming right at the back end of the contest. For Ukraine, on the attack here is Alexander Fomyuk. I think he's the birthday boy, that if that numbering is correct. Fomyuk, 21 during the week. Good carry it was. Up and under. Nice work at the back. I'll tell you what, he looks to be pretty safe under the high ball in Chigalius, but they were in his face from, well, straight away. I'm not sure if they're onside or not, but he had nowhere to go and just had to surrender.
He's a good little fullback. It's a shame he hasn't got a bit more ball in space. He hasn't got a bit more ball in space. Costo and able to show his speed, his lightning quick. But it's probably because Greece hasn't had the ball, I would say, and Ukraine. So Ukraine's had a lot of possession. So they score, then there's a kickoff, and they've got to set again, and they score again. So they've got the ball for periods, and unfortunately that happened. It was the same with us, and you can't defend that at these levels.
So we've got another delay here. Looks like the referee, and by the way, the referee is in charge of the timepiece. We don't have a clock here at the ground. The only clock is in the form of the watch of the referee, and he's having another discussion at 36. Is it 36-6? 34-6? 34-6, and we're having a lecture, I suspect, about playing fair and discipline and keeping everyone on the field. And we're having that in the shadows of full time. Can you believe it?
Yeah, not needed at that time in the game, mate. I know, obviously, one of your big hates by the sounds of Costa, but referees slowing them up.
Well, Leo, one of the differences between our game and the dark side is our continuity and ball in play, and you know it and I know it.
Yeah, No, you're right, absolutely. And he's done it multiple times today. And there was times there was no league. I don't know what was being said that solved anything. There was still penalties left, right, and centre anyway. So you're right. We just need a little bit more flow in the game.
Yeah, look, we're not here to get stuck into the match officials, but we've got to call it as we see it. The pictures don't lie. You people back at home, no matter where you're watching, many of our audience, or many of our viewers, I should say, well and truly follow rugby league, the greatest game of all, as I call it, on a week-to-week basis. Yes, it's not NRL. Yes, it's not Super League, but I can take you to plenty of other rugby league matches, as we see a penalty to Greece here, and another penalty. He's going to blow the P out of the whistle. We might need a replacement whistle in the dying seconds of this game here. But I can take you to plenty of other places where we don't see this. Here's Greece. It's a forward pass comeback here, says the man in peak. So Enzo Perret has pulled it up for a forward pass. Full time must be surely well and truly upon us. This second half seems to have dragged on, punctuated by plenty of mistakes. And there is the final whistle. No time for a scrum. It's all over. And Ukraine make it 2 from 2 at the Euros and 3 from 3 on tour with an emphatic victory against Greece. 34 points to 6 here in Udine. Our final thoughts from Leo Epifania. Leo, what a game. Ukraine deserved winners and a big win too.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done well. I think that Greece tested them a few times, even in the first half, and Ukraine was able to defend their line multiple times. The second half, definitely, they did the same thing. Greece gets a couple of tries, they get their tails up, and all of a sudden there's a battle. But they defended their try line, they come back down the other end and scored themselves. So they've done an outstanding job for I'm obviously not Ukrainian, I'm not Greek, but I also respect what they have managed to do. And maybe up to now, they're the best. Their performance is the best side in the whole cup in this group by an absolute mile.
Those comments from Leo Epifania, the Italian national coach, the Azzurri, and of course the Azzurri will take on Greece on Saturday. That's this coming Saturday. Greece to reload for the Azzurri on Saturday at this very same venue to complete Euro C of the European Championships. Well, that is full time, as we say. And again, our thanks to our broadcast team, to Davide and the crew here in Udine. Our sincere thanks for putting the show, or for getting the show on the road. And our thanks also to the Italian Rugby League Federation in more broad terms, and others who've made us feel so welcome here in Northern Italy. But for now, on behalf of Leo Epifania and our broadcast team, I'm Jason Costigan. Congratulations to Ukraine. 34-6 winners over Greece, 6 tries to 1. Deserved winners here at the Euros for the second time in 4 days. They will go home tonight, no doubt, pretty chuffed to bits. 3 from 3 on tour, after beating the Dutch Lions in the Netherlands, then Italy last Saturday, and today Greece. But for now, this is Costo signing off in Udine in Northern Italy. We'll catch you next time for some more International Rugby League.